Hey boys and girls! This afternoon I want us to review how to add and subtract decimals using word problems and problem solving skills. So our first example here says Thomas has $23.51. His sister has $16.41. They combine their money to buy a gift for their mom's birthday. Her gift cost $32.57. How much money do they have left? So I want you guys to be solving this problem in your notebook as we solve it together here as a review. So I know I need to start off by combining their two amounts of money. So when we add decimals, we line them up by their place value. The easiest way to line them up is to line up our decimals. When we add decimals, our decimal point just drops down and it will end up in the exact same place value in your sum. Whenever we add again, we always start with the smallest place value in case we ever need to regroup. So 1 plus 1 equals 2, 5 plus 4 equals 9, 6 plus 3 equals 9, and 2 plus 1 equals 3. So that means that Thomas and his sister had a total of $39.92. Then it tells you that her gift cost $32.57. And I want to know how much money is left. The words cost and left hint to me that we're going to be subtracting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take their total amount of money, $39.92, and I'm going to subtract out the cost of their mother's birthday gift. When we subtract decimals, we still need to line up our decimals, and that decimal will go down to the difference as your answer. Again, when we subtract decimals, we always start in the smallest place value in case we need to regroup. So in this hundredths place, I need to regroup because I can't take 7/100ths away from 2/10. So I'm going to borrow a tenth, and I'm going to regroup those 10/10 over to my hundredths place. So now I have 12/100ths minus 7, which equals 5. 8 minus 5 equals 3. 9 minus 2 equals 7. So to answer my question correctly, I would say they have $7.35 left after purchasing that gift. Now we're going to look at a new problem. It says Miss Vincent ran a race. The race was 15 5/10 miles long. She stopped every 1 3/10 miles to get water. How many times did she stop for water? So I know right off the bat after reading this, I know that 5 5/10 is the total distance of this race, and this 1 3/10 represents the stops. So this represents the pieces out of this total. So it says, how many times did she stop for water? Now, reading this problem, I'm already thinking this sounds like a division problem. It sounds like I'm going to be splitting up my total race in groups of 3 1/10 miles. And that would be correct, but we have not learned how to divide decimals yet. So instead, I'm going to find a workaround. So I know that division is essentially repeated subtraction. So if I was to model this to get better understanding, if this is the starting point where she's at 0 miles, and this is my finishing point at 15 5/10 miles, and she stops every 3.1 miles, I could either add 3.1 multiple times until I get to 15 5/10, or I could take 15 5/10 and subtract until I get down to 0. Subtract every 3 1/10. So it's completely up to you how you want to solve this problem. We're going to solve it both ways. We're going to start with subtracting and then we're going to go to adding. And you're going to see why I'm doing both ways in just a second. So again, whenever we subtract, we line up our decimals and we always start with the smallest place value. 5 minus 1 equals 4. 5 minus 3 equals 2 with the remainder of 1. So now I'm going to subtract another 3 and 1/10. That equals 3. Oops, got to borrow from my tens place. 12 minus 3 is 9. I'm down to 9 and 3/10 miles. I'm going to stop again. 3 minus 1 is 2. Decimal. 9 minus 3 is 6. I'm going to subtract another 3 and 1/10. 2 minus 1 is 1. Bring down my decimal. 3. One more time. Minus 3 and 1/10. Now I'm at my starting point. I'm going to show you the other way as well. So over here, I've made one stop at 3 and 1/10 miles. Now I'm going to add another 3 and 1/10 miles, and that will get me at 6 and 2/10 miles. Add another 3 and 1/10 miles to get to 9 and 3/10. Add another 3 and 1/10 miles to get to 12 and 4/10. And then again another adding the 3.1 miles and getting to my finish line. So I'm assuming that she is stopping at this finish line and drinking water as well. So looking at both of these different ways to solve the problem, in the first way with repeated subtraction, I see 1 stop, 2 stops, 3 stops, 4 stops, 5 stops. When I use my number line counting up, I see 1 stop, 2 stop, 3 stop, 4 stop, 5 stop. So if you notice, both ways are going to get you to the answer that she stops 5 times. You just have to be careful with subtraction. Make sure that you count this last one to get to 0. Otherwise, you might get it incorrect. So the final answer is 5 stops. I hope that this really helped you to review adding and subtracting decimals, as well as problem solving with decimals.